Yes, hello there. Welcome back again to my channel. Now I'm apologizing from beforehand for the breeze. You understand? But I'm hoping that you'll be able to hear what I'm saying nonetheless. Right? Now today's topic, as you can see, the harm that cults can cause. Now, I choose to look at this aspect or to talk about this, right? Because many persons, they still don't understand what I'm doing because they don't see the necessity of having a ministry on cults, because not only do they not see Seventh-day Adventist Church as a cult, but they just see it as no big deal. Most churches and Christians, they don't see cults as a big deal, especially Christians in Jamaica. Because you see, we have never had to deal with the cults that most of which sprang up in America and so forth, you know. We have never had to deal with the terror of Heaven's Gate, the Jim Brown cults, and oh gosh, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name, but you know them. You understand, those deadly cults. We have never had to deal with them, and so as a result, persons do not get it when I speak about cults and so forth, right? They do not get it. Now, in this video, right, I'm going to talk about the effects that a cult can have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screenshot something from a book called Stolen Minds, Understanding Cults. I'm going to screenshot it and send it to you, after which I'll talk about it. Alright, so have a look at it. So, as it's saying from this now, right, is that if those who joined cults and subsequently left, 51% reported their experience was extremely damaging. And even years after leaving, some still felt traumatized. Some of the harmful effects of being in a cult include, and he goes on to state, the loss of free will, loss of control over one's life. Now let me explain this part about loss of free will. I remember when I had just got my awakening and left the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I attempted to drink coffee for the first time. It's almost as if something or someone was tying my hands and I just could not drink it. It was a struggle, because you see, the thing is, you know, what cults does to your mind mentally, you know, it deprives you from acting on your own, because you can't feel safe to act on your own. It's like is there something in the back of your head telling you that something is going to happen. You understand? And so this is how I explain that part when it talks about loss of free will. Number two, disintegration of family and other important relationships. This is a very huge one. I lost a lot of relationships coming out of Adventism. I was all alone. It was thanks to friends, some friends that I had, some of which were from other churches, and I met friends from other churches, right, and received counseling and so forth, because most of those who I was close with, I could feel the detachment from them when I left Seventh-day Adventism. So it's much worse when it comes to cults like Jehovah's Witness, because they have a shunning policy, right? All those who choose to shun me, you know, from the Seventh-day Adventist Church do it of their own free will. But with Jehovah's Witness, it's mandated that they shun those who actually defect from the group. So it's much worse within the Jehovah's Witness organization, right? Now, let's look at the other one. Loss of many productive years of life. Now, this was something that I mourn about very, very, very often. It's actually my grandmother who has to counsel me and say, then, you don't need to worry about what you lost. God is able to give you back all of those things and so forth. And when I look into myself, you know, I tell myself that I really thank God that I'm still young. You understand? And I can still make something out of myself. But as for those who left when they're old and getting their awakening when they're old, oh my. I could only, words can't express how hurt they should actually be for the wasted years. You understand? Now let's look at the other one. Difficulty trusting others and developing intimate relationships. Now this is a serious one here, you know. I struggle with trust issues. You understand, where church is concerned and Christian is concerned. I watch and listen every single thing in any organization that I'm in because of the trust issues that I have. Pardon me for the noise in the background. Right? Now let's look at the other one. Next one, problems thinking independently. Thought process become very rigid with a reduced use of irony and abstract thinking. Now, this wasn't a problem for me in particular. You understand? But perhaps many in go through this you know, this kind of thing, because with cults, you know, you are conditioned to think through the leaders or the founder of the group. So you're not used to thinking of your own. So one can understand why this would be a struggle with persons involved in a cult or someone who came out of a cult. Now, being used as a slave by the cults, all of us go through it. The works-based theology that is in it almost make you feel like a slave. You understand? Now the next one, financial loss and suffering. Huge amounts of money given to the group. I used to mourn about the amount of tithes that I used to pay with the little money that I was making. Right? Tithing, which is not biblical, by the way, you know. But then that's for another video. Oh, I used to remember ever so often, every Saturday, you'll hear them quote from Malachi. Bring ye all the tithe into the storm, and they do that every Saturday. And the part will tell you that you're going to be cursed, etc. Oh gosh, the guilt trips that I used to feel, even when I'm suffering and really could use to not pay the tithe at least once. By the time I hear Malachi, I got to get out that money right away. You understand? So when I think back on it, how much of that I give to it, oh gosh, I told myself that even when I used to visit occasionally, right? When I used to visit it occasionally, I used to tell myself that when I'm visiting it, I'm not going to pay a cent. I'm not going to give even $1. You understand? Because they get enough money from me already. You understand? Now the next one, hallucination, panic attacks, guilt feelings, identity confusion, paranoia, in more extreme groups, suicidal tendencies, and health deterioration. This wasn't a problem for me. I never experienced that part, but I can tell you where the suicide is concerned, you find that coming very much from the Jehovah's Witness organization. Because when you think about actually leaving the church, the group, you know, and having to lose your family if you do, you're left with two choices. Either you stay in the group and keep your family, or you leave the group and lose your family. The mental stress that it causes on their mind, because either choice they choose, they are going to regret it. It's like the only thing that option that they could see is to take their own life. You understand, due to the shunning policy. So this applies to Jehovah's Witnesses. I never experienced that part. You understand? Physical and sexual abuse in the group. No, I can't really think of any now, but I know that there are some cults. They brainwash the females in particular and tell them that they need to do certain things, and if they do certain things, they get blessings from God. You understand? So, but I can't really think of any group right now to say which one this would go for. The next one, criminal behavior, murder, suicide, gun running, drugs, fraudulent activities. Now let me skip that because it doesn't apply to me nor any Adventist that I know. Right? Now let's look at the other one. Anger with oneself for being sucked into the cult. That one was something that really had me. It took a long while for me to get over the anger. Even now, sometimes when I look at the errors as I continue to learn of the more erroneous doctrines of Seventh-day Adventists, it's like I always tell myself, like sometimes the feelings would just come up and I would just feel angry at myself for having to fall prey into Adventism. You understand? Yes, so that's the struggle that I have every single day of my life. I have this struggle. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get over it completely. That I really fell prey into Adventism. You understand? Now the final one to look at, it says, Reluctance to join legitimate organizations or religions. Now, after I left Adventism, it took me months, you understand, to actually decide to settle in a church. Now, I have settled in the church that I was going to. Before I became an Adventist, I went back into that church. However, even while I'm in that church, it's almost as if I'm really not in it. I mean, I face difficulty settling, and I don't even know how to properly explain the reason for that. You understand? But my particular reason for finding it difficult to settle is that due to what I've been through in Adventism, I'm very cautious with many things. I listen attentively to every sermon. I listen every biblical speech that is uttered. As a result, I have a high IQ when it comes to biblical things, and my biblical intellect and intelligence is very high. And it's high because I have somewhat of a paranoia, whereas the average member wouldn't. Right? The average member is not on their guard when it comes to errors and so forth, They have never experienced those erroneous doctrines like I did. So as a result, I'm very, very, very cautious, and this can give members a hard time, Especially if they are not as studious as I am. It can cause a whole lot of problem, because I mean, here's this guy. Every single thing he says, he's like trying to correct us and so forth. He has a problem, and he's just always, why can't he just keep silent sometime and let us teach and so forth? It is hard for me to do so. I'm very, very cautious, and it's as a result of what I've been through in Adventism. You understand? Now, this makes it difficult for members in evangelical circles, to deal with persons coming out of a cult. You understand? Because even the evangelical circle is not perfect. There's no perfect church. And there is in them lies members who may be full of pride. You understand? And yeah, you see this little youngster coming in, and we are older than him. Maybe some say we're older than him, and he's acting like he wants to teach us and so forth and them thing, and he's younger than us. Who is he? And then you find some youngsters my age, and it's almost as if maybe they probably feel embarrassed or something, because this guy seems to be like a Mr. Know-It-All, and we've been here so long as Christians, and we're him as the same age, and he just makes us look like fools rather than appreciate what I can actually bring. These are the things that will come out of members. You understand? Yeah, that's what will come out of members. Because as I said, even the evangelical church, there's no perfect church. So you will find folks that are full of pride, you understand, and have very sensitive ego. And when ex-cult members come now, and they have this sharp intellect which they get because experience teaches wisdom, it teaches us to be sharp and to fact check everything. It makes it very hard, especially when a person wants to push their particular agenda and they can't get to do it because of you. You understand? So this is my personal problem that I have, and I know many ex-cult members probably have this problem as well. Right? So I know former Adventists who have been out of it for years and still haven't settled in a church. And this is this is due to coming out of the cult. Right? So here I have listed for you 10 effects that cults can cause. Right? And I'm going to add one: atheism and agnostics. That's one of the effects of a cult as well. What I find is that majority of persons who actually leave cults, they either become atheists or agnostics. Especially the more deadly cults, very few of them actually find the true Christ and the true gospel afterwards. They have nothing to do with God. They have doubts upon every single thing. You understand? And that is due to the cult, what the cult did to them. It renders them incapable of trusting or believing in a God that could have allowed them to go through the things that they have been through. They can't see the good in it, Like I did see the good in it, being able to set free many persons from out of the cult. You understand? The knowledge that I have that can be used to effect change on the world and in Christendom Many don't see it that way, but thankfully the Holy Spirit was with me. You understand? And could have placed this in my heart to have this ministry, you understand, to help set persons free from out of cults. You understand? Now to conclude, the book says, obviously, less extreme groups will exert less dramatic damage on its members. If someone is going to invest considerable time and money in an organization, it makes sense, it makes solid sense to look both ways before crossing the street. Right? Using a simple internet search, the wary discerning consumer can easily uncover the controversies surrounding an organization and discover other places where the same potential benefits are readily available without the baggage. So this is a recommendation here, you know. The writer is saying that just fact check anything. Don't just jump into a church like that. You hear and listen what they have to say, compare it with other teachings and so forth. Do a Google search and think about what they're saying. And if you find that what they say is not plausible, go to one that you can get the same thing from without the baggage. You understand? And so this is also my recommendation for you. Now I end this video. I do hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment where necessary, subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon so that you can receive notifications whenever I make new uploads. And last but not least, share this video with whom you know will benefit from an amazing video like this. Bye bye now.